Am I the asshole for saying just leave at my cookout? My sister Nicole, 34, brought her new boyfriend Steve to our family cookout yesterday. It's for about 30 people. For the sides, everyone brought in sides. My sister brought one bag of store-brand potato chips, and Steve helped himself to beer right away before being introduced to everyone. We are having hamburgers and hot dogs and just hanging out with the family. It's nothing fancy. Steve asks, "Is this it?" when the first plate of hot dogs is done and waiting on the round of hamburgers. My wife says there will be hamburgers soon, and Steve tells my wife and sister about his family and how they have barbecue chicken, steak, shrimp, and many options. I picked up the plate of hot dogs and told Steve he could leave and go to his family barbecue instead. He just looked at me and drank his beer, and I told him and my sister to go since this wasn't good enough for Steve. I gave my sister store-brand photo chips back and told her to get out. My sister and Steve left, and the cookout was fine after that. My mom heard about me kicking them out and was mad at me and told me to apologize to my sister. Maybe there was a misunderstanding, but Steve was just an asshole commenting like that at someone's house, and the first time you meet their family. My wife thinks I was right because Steve acted like that in her home, and insulting the host is a good reason to be kicked out. Others are split about 50-50 when they heard about what happened. Not the asshole, edited to appease a Redditor. Mom, you're more than welcome to let sister's name, boyfriend insult you in your home, but he won't be doing it in mine. Not the asshole. Why would you put up with this nonsense at your own home? I don't understand anyone who thinks you went too far. Do they think this jackass would have stopped at just one comment? Hell no. As host, you ensured your other 30 guests wouldn't be subjected to entitled, passive-aggressive bullshit. Not the asshole. They brought a bag of chips, drank beer they didn't provide, and thought you were cheap? Rude, entitled, and deserved the treatment they received. Anyone who thinks you were wrong can invite them to their next party. Am I the asshole for punishing my family by no longer doing birthdays, holidays, vacations because my dad screwed me and my wife over? When my wife and I were talking about getting married, my dad said that he would give us a down payment for a home. We were thrilled and kept that in mind. We would be able to afford a good starter home with his help, and we scrimped and saved to add to it. Except apparently he meant a sum of money good for a down payment for a house near us, where the cost of living is low. He did not ever mean a down payment for a home in Colorado, where my wife and I have lived since we were in college. He said he thought I would be smart enough to realize that we'd need to move somewhere with a lower COL than Colorado. He keeps saying, move to a cheaper city. Our lives are here, our friends, our jobs, our hobbies. You can't exactly leave your house and be up on top of a 14,000 peak in 6 hours where my family is. I told him that we had never talked about moving back there, and we never would, that we would rather be stuck renting for a while longer than be stuck somewhere we didn't want to be, and the move to a cheaper city wouldn't work for us. He said so be it, and gave us the amount, and that was that. I expressed gratitude and thanked him for the money. It is still towards the goal. Well, because of this shift in our finances, we have had to make a lot of changes to save up the rest of the money. We have had to cut out vacations, birthday gifts, holidays, etc. We won't be traveling home for a few years. At our current rate, we should have an okay down payment by the end of next year, 2025. My dad confronted us about this because we won't come for a summer break trip and told me that I was being a selfish, entitled brat because I hadn't gotten my way, that I was essentially punishing the rest of the family because we assumed what his gift would be. I told him that I was grateful for the amount he gave us, but that it means we do need to buckle down and save every penny if we want to be able to afford a house anytime soon. Even townhouses around us are easily over $400K, and that's for the sketchy ones. But is my dad right? Am I the asshole? Edit to add, there was no amount formally discussed. He said a down payment, and that was that. For my siblings, he paid for college. He paid cash in full for my sister's house. It was $317,000. He did not pay for my college. They are invited to come here anytime, but believe it should be me to go there, because I am the one who moved. No, we do not go out to eat avocado toast, Starbucks, cable, etc., etc. Info. Did he give you the amount he said he would? Because if he did, I fail to see how he screwed you over. The problem is, the dad said, a down payment on a house. That is essentially meaningless and subject to interpretation. Is that 10% or 20%? Also, where is the house? My kids bought houses the same year, one on the West Coast and the other in the Midwest. The kid in the Midwest bought twice the house for half the price. The father said a down payment, and the OP looked at the houses he liked and imagined a number The father looked at houses the father liked and came up with a much lower number. They didn't communicate, so they're both pissed. Use your words, people. I think that they still aren't communicating. I think the dad is pissed because he believes his son isn't coming, as he is upset with what the amount dad gave him. In son's mind, he isn't coming because they are saving for something that is more important than the vacation and birthdays. Two different but linked views. I don't think the son is upset with his dad, but is disappointed due to his interpretation of what dad was offering. Perhaps if they actually spoke, the dad would understand that it isn't about the gift, but the dream of a house in CO. I would agree with you if the OP hadn't said his dad screwed him over. Your dad screwed you and your wife by giving you money, but less than you had hoped for. If you can't afford to travel, that's one thing, but trying to portray this as your family screwing you over somehow, yikes. That's a definite "you're the asshole" from me. You're the asshole for framing it as your dad screwing you over. He offered you a down payment for a home. You assumed it would be a certain amount. It wasn't, but he still gave you a generous gift. And now you describe that generous gift as screwing you over. Also, while you're under no obligation to go on family trips, to cut out any visits to them for a few years after your dad gave you this generous gift because it wasn't as much as you were expecting, sends a message, whether you mean it to or not. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.